Today we're going to talk about how Louis XVI tried to deal with France's bankruptcy through taxes, and we're doing this to understand why he called upon the Estates General. So, Louis XVI decided that he needed to raise taxes in order to make sure that France was no longer bankrupt from its many wars. And he was willing to go so far as to tax the French aristocrats, the Second Estate. And this was a big deal because part of the nobility's privilege was that they didn't have to pay a lot of taxes. That was a perk of being a noble for them. If you were nobility, if you made it in the world, you didn't have to pay any taxes. Or at least you had to pay very few of them. As we could tell today, that isn't even remotely close to fair for the financial burden of the nation. And Louis XVI certainly was not proposing to make it anything even close to equitable, but he needed to draw on the nobility's wealth in order to make sure that the country didn't go bankrupt. Not unsurprisingly, they were not thrilled with this idea. The aristocrats did not want to lose their privileges. In fact, some parts of the nobility, the newer parts of the nobility, had actually bought their way into the nobility through ennoblement and venal offices that they paid for that changed them from being third estate to second estate. So they definitely didn't want to go back to paying taxes that they had literally bribed their way out of previously. So together, the aristocrats decided to block Louis's plan, so he needed to go through another route to try and get his taxes through, because France had a very looming economic crisis on the way. So in desperation, Louis called upon the Estates General, and that was a big deal because the Estates General had not been called in about 170 years, because Louis XIV, Louis XV, and Louis XVI all hated the Estates General. But now Louis XVI no longer had any options if he wanted to avoid a financial crisis.